See that dot on the screen? See that dot? You ever been a dot? You ever been in an organization where like it's all coming at you kind of like that? How does it feel? It's pretty awful. Have you ever tried to work with a dot? That's not so great either. Now, it's really interesting because it's a very problematic thing, and especially it happens a lot in volunteer organizations, and then people say, well, nobody will help me, or oh, I'm so burned out. Well, why? Well, nobody, well, did you ask people? Well, no. There's this problem of being able to see leadership as something more than one person telling everybody what to do and trying to make everything work all by themselves. Does that resonate at all with folks? Now, sometimes we react to that so strongly, and that kind of a constraining structure, dysfunctional structure, that we go over here. We don't need that. We don't need that dot. In fact, we don't need any dots. In fact, we don't need leadership. In fact, we don't need structure at all. You ever had that experience? Does that work great? Joe Freeman, a feminist sociologist in the 70s, wrote a piece called The Tyranny of Structurelessness, in which he talks about the fact that human beings, when they get together, they structure themselves. And it's either going to be visible, accountable, transparent, and open, or it's going to happen anyway, but it'll be factions, personalities, lack of accountability, who's really, does that sound familiar at all? Well, see, it doesn't have to be one or the other. And what we've been working with in recent years has been an alternative, which is thinking in terms of leadership as a team project. Now, this problem, this challenge that I'm talking about is not a new challenge. We asked people to do advanced reading. I don't know if folks here got that. I know folks out there in the world got it. Did you get notice of a reading? Yeah, the Exodus 18. Yeah, see, the reason I asked people to read that story from the Bible is this is not Bible class tonight, but this problem that I'm describing, it's been around for a long time. And this particular problem, the account in this story is about Moses, who has always been interesting to me because he's a Jew who was an Egyptian. He was of the oppressed, raised in the house of the oppressor. It creates an identity issue for him. He struggles with it. So there's a lot to learn from his struggles. In this particular struggle, he's sort of halfway through his journey, and his father-in-law comes to visit and shows up with his wife and his 2 kids and says, hey, Moses' wife, 2 kids here, just want to remind you a little bit about that. And then he stays and watches while Moses goes to work the next morning. And the description is that Moses is sitting on the ground, and the people are towering over him with questions and questions. And then Jethro, his wise father-in-law, says, hey, Moses, this isn't working. This is not good for you, and it's not good for the people. You're gonna burn yourself out. So you got to do something different. Well, what does he ask Moses to do different? It's pretty interesting. First thing, you can't be the only one that knows the law. You got to educate the people. They got to know. You got to share it. You can't hold it all here. Secondly, you can't try to do it all yourself. You got to find out if then it was 10 men, 1 to make decisions with respect to the other 9, and then one of those 10 and one of those 10, so that only the stuff that cannot be dealt with comes to you. And you have to give them the authority. And he said, he wasn't looking for experts who'd been to the Kennedy School. He said people of respect, people who were respectful, who respected God. And third, you have to actually give them the authority to make decisions.